man, if you're not warming up your rotator cuffs on your push days, man, what are you doing? You should be warming up your rotator cuffs on any upper body training day. Let's go. Yeah, I like to hit my rear delts, man, as much as possible. Sometimes I'm hitting 4 different days where I'm touching rear delts, like on my push days and my back days. And I like to throw in this cable variation. You know, it's a little bit different. It's similar to what you would do on the pec deck fly, like a rear delt fly. But with the cables, you're gonna get constant tension. So I really like doing that. But all right, my man. Yeah, we're gonna start off with that before I move over into my main lift for today, which is gonna be a flat bench press, where I'm gonna go over and do that on a different setup because the flat benches in here, man, it's really difficult to get a lift off since I'm lifting by myself. I don't want to spend all my energy pulling the weight just for the lift off. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're gonna go get a setup over here on the side where you would normally do the squats in the cage, but you're able to adjust it to your liking. So like being totally transparent, specifically on push days, like the first workout of the week is where I have my most energy. And I tend to come into the gym and let my ego at times get the best of me because I'm constantly trying to push for, bigger numbers, you know, on the bench, on the squat, with my dumbbell presses, my bent over rows, my RDL. I'm always trying to push for the number. And with that, you're going to sacrifice, at least I do, a little bit of the form. And it could, diminish the amount of gains, so to speak, that you can get. So I really got to hone in on technique, on form, on just every single rep, so that way I get the most out of each exercise. Ultimately, I'm going to get the most out of that workout for the day. So right now, I am on a flat bench, but I'm not necessarily pushing for big numbers today. I'm really just trying to get the best workout I can. So Uh, I'm gonna go to, right now I got 2.25 on the bar. I'm still kind of building up to my top set. Want to get for sure 2 good top sets and then a back down set. Trying to get the most out of each exercise because I'm going to still do a good amount of volume, but not quite as many exercises. So I'm going to hit a dumbbell exercise and then I'm going to do a fly motion for chest. I'm going to hit an overhead press for the shoulders and maybe a heavy dumbbell fly. A dumbbell lateral raise and 1 tricep exercise, a little bit higher reps for the shoulders and the triceps, but overall, really focusing more so on form and, the contraction, getting every little bit out of each and every rep. So I'm not going to necessarily be focused on the amount of weight I'm doing. Incline press has been, my main movement for, my push days where I'm emphasizing, chest. I just feel like, and the study shows as well that it's going to hit more of that upper chest, give you more of that fullness, that full look in your chest. So been doing that a little bit more, but, I've been basically chasing numbers, Didn't want to get back to those heavy, rep sets on the flat bench, as well as I still want to do heavy sets on the incline bench. So, I'm still gonna incorporate that. Never gonna lose sight of, the incline press, man. It's probably the best single movement for chest size. But I'm gonna go over to the incline dumbbells and do some pretty heavy sets there. But also, I'm actually gonna change my form just a little bit, bring my hands to like a thumbs up grip, just so I can get a little bit more stretch at the bottom, which is ultimately gonna give me more stimulation, a stronger contraction, in my chest. So, it's about growing, gotta get the ego out of it. Man, I know it's still challenging when you're, going as fast as you can, trying to get every rep. But try slowing it down a little bit, slowing that rep down a little bit. Time under tension is good for connecting with the exercise, making sure that you're focusing more so on, squeezing the muscle that's being worked, connecting with that muscle that's being worked, as opposed to just lowering and lifting, lowering and lifting. You know, when you come in here lifting weights, you have to define your purpose for doing the exercise, for coming in here getting this work. Are you, you just going through some type of conditioning? Are you trying to do exercise in the shortest amount of time? Are you really trying to sculpt that physique, sculpt your muscles? You have to determine what that goal is and then lift in that capacity. Coming in and just lifting, lowering and lifting, just going as fast as possible through the exercise, just trying to get it over with. That's not going to be the most effective way to accomplish a specific goal. If it is to, be stronger, to be ultimately in better shape, you're going to yield your most optimal result by controlling the weight and getting good quality reps. Man, longevity is the ultimate goal. Being consistent and constantly training on a regular basis, 4 or 5 days out the week, for the long haul, like 20, 30 years down the line, still, hitting PRs to a certain point, and the purpose of my training really is those things, but to stay healthy, of course, and to make sure that I'm not putting too much stress on my joints as far as, specifically like why I turn my hands in on my dumbbells is so that I'm not putting too much stress on my shoulders, and having my elbows flared out too much, on certain lifts. So, and with doing the flat bench, that tends to be the case when I do flat bench is my elbows start to flare a little bit. So put a little strain on the shoulder. So now I want to take that strain off. So now with the cables, I'm able to, get in a more comfortable position, but also making sure that I'm attacking the muscle that I'm trying to work. So I'm doing the high to low fly over the last few weeks because I'm trying to connect more with that type of exercise because it hits more of the lower fibers of the chest. But I'm also gonna, bring the cable down and hit more of the upper part of the chest coming from a low to high. You know what I mean? oftentimes I struggle between how many sets is enough. And ultimately, I like to get a good, feel at the end of, that particular exercise's sets. You know what I mean? Whether it's 2 sets, 3 sets. There's been times where I've done one good working set and I feel like that was sufficient enough, especially the further into your training session that you get. Like right now I'm on probably exercise number like 5, including, the warm-ups, with the rear delt flies and my external rotations for my rotator cuffs, getting into a shoulder press. So you can get right into it and get 2 good working sets. So felt like that last set was pretty good. Today's not necessarily a shoulder focused push day, so I'm not gonna do overkill on the shoulder. So, and plus when I'm doing, incline presses and the different angles of the flies, I'm getting some front delt activation. So yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and get into some lateral raises. I think I'm gonna go with some dumbbells and tricep movement. I really like doing like overhead tricep extension where it gets a good stretch. Oftentimes, like I feel like the next day or 2 days later, I feel a really good, like that good soreness that you normally would get in your triceps, after you had a good workout. But I've been focusing more on like push downs because I'm trying to bench more weight. So I try to do like some heavy push downs. So just depends on where my mind is. But I think I'm gonna probably lean towards heavy push downs. So it is what it is. All right, let's get to it. Lateral raises are a phenomenal exercise. You can do them fairly heavy if you're keeping your form together. But, if you get more reps in, you're gonna feel that lateral head, that whole delt really start to fire. So, doing a couple, heavier sets to begin with, then what I'm gonna do here on my last set, I'm gonna do like a set about a 20, 25 with something light, like maybe like some 20s, and really just fire that delt up. Man, had a great workout, man. Doing something a little different, as far as not just, like I said, chasing numbers, like I said before, really just trying to hone in on my training, locking in on the exercise, locking in on the rep to ultimately, get more out of my training. So, man, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm content gonna continue to elevate, man. I appreciate all the support, and we're gonna keep this thing rolling, man.